I swear to God, on my last breath, I'll not forgive you. I didn't want to say this. May keep you at the same way for some time now.
Kwame, also near Kasa Ghana for such before the lady. Well, I was saying a product. Nasa, look at all these big men
in the forest, and he was giving the forest itself, 42 of them, 47 forest reserves to people to mine in them without going through the process.
Why should we believe you on this?
So I compiled all the legends that he wrote.
Give me now we show empire de two now we cast a president Jimmy Namsin to Onyimi Ade Akufo-Addo ye Onyimi.
Ghana had him say NPP are buying because of some of the inflation and pempenso nema bo kosro. The inflation could do 54% in Tino. Ghana for 850,000 and NPP for the Omako Yemu. What is our no Ghana?
From Abuabua Kukuomo or Fesukwem. Now from armed robbers, we are all armed robbers here Kuomo compensating family that. What will be that? I said well to be pennies and whatever.
Now gold board send the gold out. When they send the gold board, plenty dollars go come down. So we know it takes CD they chase dollar. Now dollar they chase CD, so make dollar make weak. You understand? So anybody who comes here to tell you that Sami Jenfi has lost, what were they trying to do with the Japa? They were going to take our money.
Now, Black Rasta revealed something about one NPP big man here. He's disgracing the Addo Akufo-Addo. Now, this came as a result of a tribute, and this is not going to be easy. It's trending on social media, especially in share video in form of your WhatsApp. There we are. Check out your comment section and straight to the news. Now, whose name has been mentioned? That man Seme started about Nkomobia, Gabby Ochildakon. Very much known during the NPP era there. He's like the prime minister. That man Nkomana starting. There was a timer, Gabby Ochildakon called him Black Rasta in Nkomobia about what he wanted to do as a young gentleman. What Osiniyo because Gabby Ochildakon, if people care to know, he's actually a very good Pan-Africanist baby now woman. But on the channel, it is bringing a lie against the Addo Akufo-Addo. It is disgracing him to the core. Now, something during one of the meetings, Black Rasta onye Gabby Ochildakon Komano. Omo huni there are certain people within the government of the NPP back then. Or trust in the pa. And those said there's one particular name bibia. Ono obotu pokra de mu chana chakramato fo mama yimban. That is to tell you how believable the person has portrayed himself to be. And it is no other person than Mustapha Amid. Nanka Black Rasta feed there, he was going to mention the name of Abia, Ninia Kenoforiata, Abia, Addo Akufo-Addo himself, and any other person. But he mentioned Mustapha Amid. Just after Okadama, some Black Rasta catch there. But the attitude in some about Mustapha Amid, the NPP Mustapha Amid. In some on Shedan Kwe, no, you forget. I don't put it, Uncle Baby. Now, what's in common we knew? Just a couple of days to weeks, and a terrible thing happened. What happened? There was a certain building Bia. Dama Edanano would be Sir Mustapha Amid there. What Dama Deniya would say? Provide the papers that show that the building is for you. And no, we'll be sending building there. Building says to Makadoya Wozaza. Dama building. Who papers were in? According to Mustapha Amid and according to Black Rasta, no reports in the there, Mustapha Amid said that Dano na Addo Akufo-Addo na other man. Hey! Now, information which is the second question there. Where are the papers of the building? No. Also there, I don't know what the man na papers no. Literally, no, he was unable to provide papers. Well, in some no kuko kunem no there. Nanado tsi dama asem there. Waka dama asem da ono di edan zema Mustapha Amid. Mustapha Amid has made it as an answer to Oyo State Agency no. New Year mission that day no. He was actually eating in 50 started on the tone there. Then chama watonsum. Na we pay. Ne wiere bonodo. he was sweating. Now the sweating him no, and just some of the bad the lawyers that be had to now do their job for Nana Addo to try and take the issue out of where it is to bring about committee because it is disgracing Nana Addo. Now, you remember that there was this situation in the Krumaha. They called Shatawale, the musician. Mubisa and some Mokade. The Lamborghini he bought it on the street. We thank God that he did not mention that. Mustapha Amid did not mention that Denono was bought on the street. But he called Nana Addo. Hey. And this is making a summer Gabby a big force to Black Rasta. Now, Black Rasta, there is actually some secrets behind the scenes. And these secrets are the reason why he mentioned Nana Addo, the ex-president. Yankwa the catch of Black Rasta, in Ketin Samana Bake. Share video from your WhatsApp area. Share your comment section.
Mustapha Amid embarrasses Akufo-Addo. Gabby. A few days ago, I walked into the office of Gabby Asari on his invitation. This is a very strong Pan-Africanist who in the past was known from England as one. But not many people know him as such. And when I met him, he told me so much about his Pan-Africanism. Gabby Asari. My brother, my sister, this man was seen as the Prime Minister of the Republic because he had the ear of his uncle, the President of the Republic. He has investments in Guyana and he is starting a certain big project that is supposed to be called Borderless Africa. He said, Black Rasta, I invited you here because of Borderless Africa. I know who you are, and I want you to help me achieve this. For so long, we have tried to unite Africa, but this is a new movement. Please help me. Let us run with this idea. We don't need all the borders in Africa anymore. I asked him a few questions, and he answered, including what many people fear. If we become a borderless continent, people who are not taking good care of their nations, robbery and stealing, they would all now run into our country and steal from us. But all of us know, my brother, my sister, that it happened in Europe. There are thieves in Europe. There are armed robbers in Europe. But it's been controlled. Before that can happen, we all need to be able to come to a certain level with our economies so that it doesn't look like osmosis. Movement from a higher place to a lower place or a lower place to a higher place. The conduit pipe must be flat so that each one can move here, that can move there, not because they are seeking better privileges, but just because of convenience and comfort. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. People don't have to run because their countries are worse. There are no jobs. Basically, people move for economic reasons. Not many people move because of tourism and all that. This is Gabby Asari Ochridakon. Now, when we were having that conversation, we veered into some other issues he had heard me talk about. And I want to concentrate on this. He told me one thing, Black Rasta, if there's one man I can vouch for, integrity, honesty, patriotism, love for country. I thought he was going to say Nana Addo, but he said Mustapha. I said, which Mustapha? He said, Mustapha Amid. He said, this man is so honest. In fact, I have seen him turn away bribes. I have seen him run away from dishonesty. He is one man I can vouch for in terms of integrity. And I shook my head. I didn't want to go into any conversation. but I had to force myself into it. I said, why is he at the OSP's mercy now? He said, I don't believe anything will come out of it. Mustapha Amid is clean like a whistle. I said, well, I like it when people believe and trust each other like that. And we left the conversation there. And I walked out. A few days later, Mustapha Amid is invited by the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and there he's questioned about a certain house that he owns. And boom, Mustapha Amid says, oh, the president, former president Addo, gave me the house. And I'm sure the president was sitting in his house and sweating like a pregnant alligator. My God. Provide the papers to the house. The president will never give you a house without proper documentation himself as a lawyer. Mustapha couldn't provide that. And whilst he started muttering and he got totally cacophonized, his lawyers jumped in and said, you are harassing our client. No, we will not allow this. Let's end this interrogation. And it ended. Today, my brother, my sister, I am not shocked, but I am flabbergasted. Let me use a smaller word. I am befuddled to see what I'm seeing. The OSP has seized property allegedly belonging to Mustapha Amid. And I am shocked. Watch this. OSP seizes properties, cash, linked to Dr. Mustapha Abdul Hamid and 9 others. And when you look at what it is, you will be shocked. Watch this. Now the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, says it has seized and is managing a range of high-value assets linked to the ongoing criminal case against former National Petroleum Authority CEO Dr. Mustapha Abdul Hamid and 9 others. Now the disclosure appears in the 2025 half-year report issued and signed by Special Prosecutor Gabby. Now the seized properties form part of exhibits in the Republic versus Mustapha Amid and 9 others, currently before the Criminal High Court in Ghana. Now, among the assets under the OSP management are 4 fuel stations in Opekuma, Dansuman, Abekala Pass, and Millennium City, as well as 951,995 Ghana cedis. That's close to 1 million Ghana cedis, 0.56 in cash. A report by graphic.com GH has said. Now the office has also taken control of parcels of land across the country, including Tamale, valued at 9.93 million Ghana cedis. Wow. Hacho, valued at 2.737 million Ghana cedis. Danyame in Kumasi at 4.766 million, and an unvalued plot in Adenta belonging to Mustapha Amid and also the 9 others. Now the OSP said it is further managing high-end residential properties in prime Accra areas, including a 2-story building at East Legon valued at 12.7 million, and apartments in Airport Residential Area, Boundary Road, Roman Ridge, Adringano, each worth several millions of Ghana cedis. Additional assets include 6-unit residential blocks at Agboga, valued at 10 million Ghana cedis, 23 fuel tanker trucks, and unfinished apartment developments in Airport City and Roman Ridge. Separately, the OSP has seized luxury vehicles worth 18.6 million Ghana cedis in connection with its investigation into the Minerals Income Investment Fund. Now, these include the Rolls-Royce Masonry, right? Mansory Phantom, Mercedes-Benz Maybach, that's S680, Mercedes-Benz Brabus 800, Toyota Land Cruiser LC300, Lexus LX600, and 2 Fiat Bullion vans. The asset seizures follow criminal charges against Dr. Abdul Hamid and others, including former and current NPA officials and 3 private companies for allegedly conspiring to extort 291 million Ghana cedis from petroleum sector players. Dash it away. My brother, my sister, Mustapha Amid boasted to everybody that there was no case against him. He told us in plain language, oh, as for me, my case is a dead case, a useless case. My brother, my sister, I like such boldness. But all of a sudden, there's a house in your name. You are asked to provide papers and you take offense. Why? Since when did we start owning houses in Ghana without papers? It's like driving a car and you do not have papers for the car. Who gave you this house? I am glad he didn't say he bought it from the street and therefore he couldn't trace whoever sold the house to him. He pointed at no mean person than the whole president of the republic. Hey, the president hasn't spoken. My brother, if it comes out that the president actually gave this man the house without papers, then the president is a thief. Since when do people bequeath houses to others with no paper? And Mustapha Amid says, president gave me this.
Now, the second part of Incomaina Black Rasta will reveal there. Actually, the Addo is actually very embarrassed to a point that this whole session of information about dropping the Mustapha Amid about this, now, the lawyers of Addo have taken the necessary steps, but the second part of Incomaina Samna, because if you look at the number of Nyama Wetum sees which bears names of Mustapha Amid vis-a-vis in Kofu and connected people, it's very disgusting. Now, the very embarrassing nature there, Mustapha Amid mentioned that one of the properties was given to him by the president. You and I know that a president or an ex-president has already become a president before. Ex-president be a president, and he embodies the soul of every country. If such a man hands you over a building, and if it is true, nasa about some year timer, that president is seen with a certain image now. And just as the laws of this country is, he has to go through the court procedures vis-a-vis everything. He doesn't have the proper immunity that he used to have before. But unfortunately, and I don't know, the unfortunate thing is that it's someone within his own house, his own household person is disgracing him, digging his own grave deep down. This side, Black Rasta says some pertinent questions, bold questions as to what the evidence strikes against the Addo. Ginty the other half, Bakai. Share video from Obi or WhatsApp area. Check out the comment section.
House. Other houses have been found connected to these people in high-end areas in Accra. The Adjringanos, the East Legans, the Airport Hills, and over. Luxury vehicles, bullion vans, cash sitting in their account like pregnant toads. My God. Mustapha Amid, in fact, has fingered the president of the republic. Will the OSP consider the president as an accomplice in this so-called thievery? Information reaching me has said that the president is overly embarrassed and is asking why his name had to be mentioned in this. Addo, don't we have other people whose names could have been mentioned? Did the president really give this house to Mustapha Amid? Has he regretted mentioning the president? My brother, look at the things that have been seized. Listen, not frozen. Be careful. It did not say that it was frozen. They have been seized. The OSP seems to be very, very sure that Mustapha Amid and the 9 others are nothing but criminals who have plotted to steal over 291 million Ghana cedis. How is Gabby feeling right now? Does he still believe that Mustapha Amid is clean, just like the whistle?